All right. Good evening, everyone. Hopefully, if you're watching this, it's approaching afternoon, evening time. It's the 22nd of November, and it's hockey time. What's going on? We got 5 games tonight. Yesterday, the Excel Sprapp helped out a little bit, but I did not cash. I didn't make any money. A couple of my picks did not happen. I mean, Columbus put up a few goals. Cam Atkinson had a good night, but the rest of those guys didn't do too much. Chicago got blanked. Tampa Bay got basically blanked. They had one goal late to save a little face, but no, nothing. So tonight, what's going on? Let's go game by game. I've got brought the stats in. So Carolina, Toronto. Now Toronto's been a team that's been putting up a lot of goals lately for the most part, besides losing to Montreal. I see that Teuvo Teravainen, he's cheap, and Carolina's been on a hot streak lately. They have good goaltending too with Kim Ward. I like Teravainen. He seems cheap. I think I picked him up in a couple of contests tonight. Those other guys, I don't know. Skinner, Rask. I mean, Toronto has been playing better. I don't know how many goals they're going to give up, but it's a possibility. So, but you see Teravainen, I really like picking him up. He seems to have a lot of value, a lot of consistency there. I mean, 2.5 points in the last 2 weeks is the lowest he's gone. 3.11. Anyway, so let's look at Toronto. Within Toronto, they are a really high-scoring team. Problem is they're playing against Cam Ward, and Carolina is known for kind of more solid defense for the most part, so I'm skeptical to take these guys even though they're scoring so well. But if you're going to take them, one thing I learned from watching, looking over the stats yesterday and watching the results, guys at the top of the list are at the top of the list for a reason, and they end up being more consistent. So Van Riemsdyk, Marmer, Nazem Kadri, Tyler Bozak. These are guys that you're going to want to get, although Bozak's been blanked the last couple nights. Riley. Austin Matthews. Kids. What are you going to do? Komarov also is a sleeper. He's a little cheaper than normal, so he's a nice value pick. Connor Brown had, I think, a hat trick or a big night. It wasn't a hat trick. 11 points would be less than a hat trick. So those are your guys to keep an eye on for Toronto. Anaheim and the Islanders. Now, the Islanders are falling apart and are really getting smoked. So Anaheim seems to be a good team to load up on. They've got some guys who put up some serious points too. Kessler, Rackle, Silverberg, Corey Perry, Antoine Vermette. I know Rackle and Vermette, I believe, are on the line. Corey Perry and Corey Perry and Getzlaf are on the line. Then there's Kessler and Silverberg, I believe, are on the line. You got a lot of options here. I definitely picked up some guys tonight in my matchups in this game on Anaheim. Getzlaf maybe will come out of a little lull, a little doldrum. Islanders, let me see this difference in points from fours to threes. Tavares somewhat reliable, but they're a team that is showing us no reason why we should be investing in Brock Nelson maybe a little bit. I don't know, maybe as a sleeper pick to pick up some Islanders guys because nobody's probably going to be picking them. Ottawa-Montreal game. I like Montreal. Who doesn't? Look at the difference in points. High threes to high twos over the last month. Mid twos. So Montreal's probably going to be the team you want to load up on. If you're looking at Ottawa, you've got Carl Turris. He's been back for a while there. Somewhat consistent in the threes on average there. Hoffman, Broussard. Broussard, potential for some bigger nights and playing hotter. If you're going to take somebody on Ottawa, Carlson. Okay, so you switch over to Montreal. So what are you going to do for Montreal? Well, Galechnik, top of the list here. Radulov is back after a couple games off and looking strong. Markov, I like. I picked up Markov. Pretty consistent for Markov there. Byron is cheap, actually, and on the first line, I believe. So that's an interesting choice. You see, you open it up, and Byron's like 4,400. So kind of for value there, seems like a good idea. Shea Weber, Patrick shot. Dano is also cheap and has potential for a 4 or 6 point night, down a few below there. But yeah, I mean, Radulov, Galechnik, Markov, Byron, those seem like your big four you go with there. Then you got Florida, Philadelphia. I like Florida here. They've been playing better. Where are the points going to come from? Trocheck, Yandel, Ekblad. Malgin I like because he's cheap, even though he hasn't done much in the last 2 games. UC Jokinen, maybe. Yager is the one I picked up as a sleeper here for some of my games because I don't know, I feel like he comes to play when he goes back. Pittsburgh-Philly rivalry, I think he still plays to come out and play against Philly. Barkov seems like he should break out too, but Yager's cheaper. So I want to do something in this game because I feel like Philly gives up goals. Well, what do you do though? Do you play Philly? Because I think Florida has the potential if Longo has a bad night. Although Longo I like, so maybe, I don't know if Philly's gonna do it. Voracek is the threat. Giroux 2.6. I mean, hasn't put up much in the last couple weeks. Braden Shen, Goss. I mean, they just haven't been putting up the score mid twos. I mean, it's not that bad, but Braden Shen, Wayne Simmons, they haven't had a good night in the last few. So if they're due for a breakout, I don't know, you probably stick with Trocheck to be safe. Maybe Giroux, maybe Simmons if he has a big night. Mark Strike can't be good. Anyway, all right. And then the last game of the night, St. Louis and Boston. Boston, look at that's pretty decent points there for Boston. Patrice Bergeron, I think his Pasternak is out based on what that's showing. Krejci, Marchand, Bergeron, Krejci, Marchand, who's going to have a big... But St. Louis has decent defense, good goaltending. Pretty good team, St. Louis, and they've been playing well. So I look at this as like, oh, what if they played a team like the Rangers or like Montreal, a good team? What kind of points are those guys putting up? And St. Louis, I think, has more potential. Tarasenko's always strong. He's going to have big nights. Schwartz, Fabry, Parayko. I like him on defense because he puts shots at the net, and he's a hustler. I think he can do something in a game like this. David Perron, also a couple good nights in the last four. Actually, that's really good in the last 4 games. So there's a guy to watch for. So yeah, those are your picks. I mean, I'm starting to sort everything by player and descending. Kind of look at overall everybody. How if you're looking for value and looking for just overall points and things, what kind of view would you get? So I'm collapsing everything down by day and by player and shrinking and showing you these guys on Toronto have been the hottest over the month of November here. But Kessler, Rackle, I mean, that Anaheim Islander game, I think that's going to be heavily played for Anaheim guys, and it should be based on the stats. So, what do you do in your bigger tournaments? What do you do in your smaller tournaments? Where the point's going to come from? Kadri, Galechnik. I like Montreal and Anaheim for sure. Florida, and then picking up some scattered guys who are good, like Teravainen and maybe Byron on Montreal if you don't pick him up because he's cheaper. Like I grabbed Yager. I did some random stuff out there to try to get some guys who have potential, but that's what you're looking like. So I'm having fun with this. Did not win last night, but also when either things go right or go wrong in wild fell swoops, and that's how you do it. So Ken's talk is out. See you tomorrow.